Welcome to Speedrunner Reviews. In this series I'll be analysing and reviewing games using the mindset of speedrunning. This video will look at the game from three perspectives. First, the casual experience, which is how most people will first play the game. This will look like a condensed standard review. Next we'll discuss the speedrunning experience, including all the interesting tech and how well the game holds up as a speed game. Finally, we'll look at the tool-assisted speedrun, showing what the game looks like when pushed to the theoretical limit. If you already know the game and want to jump straight to the speedrun part, I've left timestamps in the description. Today we're playing Tom and Jerry for the Sega Master System. This is sort of a platformer chasing game where you have to catch Jerry. So let's talk about the game in general. You have all the abilities you'd expect in a platformer. Tom can run, Tom can jump, and Tom can move left and right, and also climb up ledges. You're chasing Jerry and the goal is to get to the end of the level just like that and catch him. But you can actually catch Jerry before the end of the level. So there's always an element of, can you go fast enough to catch Jerry and that will skip most of the level, or will you have to wait till the end? Jerry is pretty fast, so you can't just run and catch him. And you'll often have to climb up ledges that he can go under. So you're pretty slow, but you can often catch him with the scenery. If you try and run too quickly at him, he will drop bombs, like that. So you got to be really careful. If you hit those, you're in for a bad time, so you generally want to jump over. You do have a health bar, but the main thing that'll kill you is if you get caught behind the screen, or if you just run out of time or can't catch Jerry for whatever reason. This game strikes a really good balance of just barely being able to catch Jerry, but not quite. So you'll see here, Tom will jump off the ledge and just miss catching Jerry there. You usually can get Jerry in situations like this, but it requires really tight timing and really good knowledge of the game. Now if you wait till the end of the level to catch Jerry, sometimes it can actually be really confusing how to get it. This one, for example, you have to know that the platform on the top left will take you across to him. And some levels have bosses at the end as well, which make it pretty difficult. So it often is actually easier if you catch Jerry earlier on in the level. Now of course you have to figure out a good spot to do that though. Some levels will be nearly impossible to catch Jerry at the end, like this one, which spawns a dog enemy that often kills you. So in this level you pretty much always have to catch Jerry earlier than at the end. After playing the game for a while, you'll get to know the spots where you can cheese catching Jerry, like this bit here in the kitchen. Also, pretty much any time Jerry climbs a wall, it's pretty easy to catch him, like this spot in level 2. This spot in downtown is also really easy to catch him, and that's right before a very difficult climbing section, so that's even better. As a kid, I wasn't good enough to get through the whole level usually, so I relied on these spots where you could cheese Jerry to actually get through each level. It's the way I beat the game, and it was one of the first games I was able to beat because of that. This game is presented overall pretty well. You get some nice theming in between levels with these cutscenes saying you just barely caught Jerry but then he got away, and it really encourages you to do the next level. It has some pretty nice graphics for the Master System, including these moving water graphics, which are pretty cool for the time as well. You can also tell this is a game that Sega was really pleased with because they have Sonic and Oppa Oppa on the wall there, and they also plaster the doors with Sega in the downtown level. Looking back on it now, the controls can be a bit clunky and awkward, and it can be pretty frustrating when you can't catch Jerry or you get stuck somewhere, but overall it's still a game definitely worth playing, especially for the puzzle problem solving element of trying to catch him early. Though I have to say I'm not surprised this game is so polished given it came out in 1992, which is a very late release for the Master System. There was also a version released on the Game Gear, but that's essentially a different game due to different mechanics, and if you're used to the Master System version, this one is really weird to play. We'll just be talking about Master System today. So if you take a quick look at the speedrun leaderboards for this game, you'll quickly notice this is a quick speedrun. The reason being, there's only 6 levels, and in most levels you pretty much catch Jerry straight away. So that world record is sitting at 1 minute and 8 seconds. Now a lot of the tech in the speedrun came from the TAS that I made originally, which figured out sort of how can you catch Jerry as early as possible. but a lot of work has gone in from these runners in figuring out consistent ways to do that, because it's pretty difficult to achieve. Today we'll be looking at the world record in 1 minute and 8 seconds. So all we need to do is look at the first level and you'll see how crazy this run is. Chasing Jerry, done. Now if you just try and replicate this run, this is what's probably going to happen. You'll start the game, you go into the kitchen, you'll run as Tom, and you'll get hit by a bomb. And if you didn't get hit by a bomb, well, you probably won't catch Jerry anyway, because he won't climb up the thing. So while the run looks like it's pretty easy, you just go and catch Jerry while he's climbing, it's actually a lot more complicated than that. So the key pieces of movement here are Tom can move left and right, you can also run by holding the 1 button and jump by pressing the 2 button. Now you can also creep by pressing the down button. Tom just inches himself forward like that, it's kind of weird animation. And you can do a long step by pressing the up button. So you have those movement options, and the way that setups work in this game is it's just a combination of those movements, but setups are very inconsistent. This is the reason that I've never personally speedrun this game RTA. I have tried, but the setups, I just never found a way to make them work consistently every time. Even if I did the same movements, it kind of depends on your exact timing. This game's also kind of weird, it only polls your inputs every 4 frames, so you can think of it almost like it runs at 15 frames per second, which is pretty slow. Now let's break down this run really slowly. You can see his inputs up here and he's going to inch forward just a couple times and stop running at the start of the level. So when you stop running, Tom sort of does this back animation and hesitates for a sec. Then he chases Jerry, does a jump in that specific spot so that Jerry slows down. Then Jerry climbs. You can't run straight away until he starts climbing, but then you have to run as soon as he starts climbing, otherwise you won't be quick enough to catch him. So that little maybe 5-second segment is extremely intricate, and that's what we'll see on every level. So the next level is the garden here, and it's going to have a very similar strategy. Inch forward at the start, wait for Jerry to reach a particular spot, then run and catch him climbing up. Next we have downtown, and that's got a longer section. You can pretty much just chase Jerry there and then catch him while he's climbing up. Now with that downtown one, if you do try and run straight away, Jerry will throw a bomb, so you will notice that hesitation at the start of the level to get Jerry into a running state. Once you're running and chasing consistently, he doesn't usually stop and throw a bomb, and you need to actually set that up. You can't just hold the run button at the start of the level. Forest stage is similar, there's a very strategically timed jump at the start, right there, and then you can catch Jerry while climbing up. The mountain stage does look a bit different. You'll see Tom take some damage here this time. Reason being is because we have spikes coming up later on and you need those iframes to get through the spikes. And that's pretty much it on the speedrun. The cool thing about this game is the low frame rate polling input thing makes it actually possible to do setups like this. They're not consistent, but it can be fun getting a little bit better at them and then squeezing out that really good run. It's only a 1 minute speedrun, but in all honesty, it is probably one of the most densely technical 1 minutes of speedrunning that you can find. So now let's look at the Taz. All in all, the run looks similar to RTA, but there's a lot of history behind this. I've actually Taz'd this game 4 times, with my very first version being over 10 years ago, and basically it was just a terrible playthrough using rewind and save states to undo any mistakes. That 453, fair to say it's not that optimal, but it's come down over the years. So in this version 2 with the 203, I laid a lot of groundwork for the strategies of early catching Jerry, and RTA has taken it and ran with it, and then we've had a bit of a back and forth. In fact, it was in making this video that I did V4 of this Taz and saved another 1 second and a little bit. It actually turns out that some levels in this Taz are tied with RTA, like level 3 and level 4, and then others are sort of just a little bit faster, with level 5 being the main difference. So the Taz does use 2 different strategies. There's the bomb strategy and then the climbing strategy. Pretty much every RTA level will catch Jeremy while climbing up a ledge, but the Taz will sometimes catch Jeremy while throwing a bomb, and we'll have a look at that. So the first level of the Taz saves 23 frames over world record. I'm playing it back a bit slower here. You gotta get hit by one of the big landmines and then get Jerry to throw a bomb at you, then you can catch him. So it's not that much faster, but it is faster than waiting for Jerry to go all the way up to the platforms and climb up it. One thing that I'll mention about this bomb strat is there's a bit of randomness in when Jerry will throw it, so even if you have the same inputs, you can't get the same result all the time, which is why it's not very consistent for RTA runs. Level 2 is one that I improved by looking at the RTA speedruns in my version 4 of the Taz, so I was able to just run at Jerry a little bit sooner, and that obviously helps you catch him faster. In my old Taz of the downtown level I did the bomb strat, but that didn't work just due to how the RNG was behaving during this Taz, so I had to do the ledge strat here for Jerry. It actually turns out to be the exact same speed between those two strategies on this level. The forest is one that's pretty similar to RTA, in fact it's exactly the same speed. You do a little jump here to slow down Jerry and get him to climb the ledge. It's really important to slow down before Jerry climbs the ledge, otherwise he'll just keep running on underneath it and not climb up. Mountains is another one where I save a lot of time over RTA, and that's because I can do the bomb strat here rather than waiting for Jerry to get to the ledge. But just before the ledge there's a bit of spike, so that's why it's a bit slower in RTA, because you have to go around avoiding all those spikes and everything. Level 6, the baby's room, again is pretty similar to RTA here, it's just another ledge strategy, not too much interesting there. I'll say this again, that I'm just amazed at how close RTA is to Taz for this game. It's only about 6 seconds slower, and that gap could even be reduced further with enough grinding. It's one of those games where the RTA world record is super duper optimized. There is some potential for the Taz to improve. There's a screen wrap glitch that has happened to some people. I was able to replicate it here. What happens is you go off the left and come out the right side of the screen. But because the left side of the screen kills you, I wasn't able to ever get this without causing Tom to just die. But in theory, if we could, it would be a really efficient way to catch Jerry and could pull down the Taz a lot further. Now there's also another cool side to speedrunning this game, which is the 100% category. So the way this game works is that Jerry will get to the end of the screen and kind of wait for you to catch him. And that's normally how you'd be finishing a level unless you're able to catch him early. Now obviously all the speedruns will just catch Jerry as early as possible, but if you let him get to the end of the screen you'll sort of see the end of the level and you'll have some sort of obstacle to overcome at the end of that screen there. So that's just what 100% does. The definition of it is that the screen has to scroll all the way to the end, so you see 100% of the levels there, and it turns out to be a pretty fun category. You see a bit more of the physics involved in the game, a lot of climbing and jumping and running, as well as manipulating Jerry to be running as much as possible without throwing bombs at you, while still just getting past all the obstacles yourself and avoiding deaths. If you haven't tried it before, it's a really fun category to pick up, and I actually tried running it myself a lot over the last week during making this video. It's been really fun to have a bit of a back and forth with Arnold, although I'm not at all close to this time. My time's probably about 9 minutes and something. But it's still good fun nonetheless. Now this category gets really fun in Taz because, well, there's a walk through walls glitch in this game. It has to do with when Jerry scrolls the screen, and if you can press right then not right over and over, frame perfectly, you'll actually walk through the walls. Now that's actually not too difficult to do, so given this game runs at 15 frames a second, you kind of can do that realistically RTA, but if you mess it up even once you'll get stuck on the wall, so it's not really worth it. So this is a little Taz that I've been working on. It's not released yet, but do keep your eye out for it because it's almost finished, and it's sort of the 100% Taz of this game. I really like it because it's a bit more entertaining and you can sort of see a bit more glitchiness with the walk-through wall stuff going on. In fact, during making this Taz, it was actually really hard to not catch Jerry. If you do in RTA or Taz for this category, the run's over because you have to let the screen scroll to the end, and there's a lot of damage that's taken to sort of run through the obstacles without slowing down. So that's going to be all for this video. This game is a pretty fun one to pick up casually and it really shines as a speed game. I think the length really helps that because it's a short one to pick up and try and run. And even if you're not super confident doing all the manipulations for the bomb throws and climbs and everything, you can get a pretty good time in 100% after just picking up the game and playing it casually for a little while. The physics take a bit of getting used to in this game, but once you do, you'll appreciate them, because if they were too good it would make it a bit too easy to catch Jerry. There are some annoying parts of the game, like this section for example, where you have to avoid hitting the fish, otherwise you'll fall down and die. But overall it's a solid Master System platformer and a fun little cat and mouse chase game. That's going to be all from me. If you appreciated this content, then a subscription is always welcome, and I should have more content coming out like it soon. Thanks so much for watching.